All right, welcome everyone. I was gonna say good morning, but it's not good morning. I'm just tired. To me, it feels like it's good morning, but it's not. It's actually two my time, which is definitely not morning. But it is the start of a new trading session here with the Fiverr. It's gonna be very exciting to continue my journey into the degenerate gambling life of a low time frame scalper.
Hello, everyone. I'm sure it is good morning somewhere in the world, so it's not completely incorrect.
Yeah.
Yes, let's see how this journey goes. I think it's an exciting and an interesting process to do that in front of the audience, where you venture into an activity, even though it's very something you know about, but it's still different. It's not the usual thing you do, and you do it in front of everyone, so everyone can learn from it, from either the successes or the lessons, if not shortcomings that you will encounter. And I think
Yeah.
it's a great idea, and I mean, personally, I look forward to see how that fares for you. So but yes, we have a great session today. We are going to be trading live, looking at your new perspective or framework of approaching the market, doing it live, and so on. So yeah, I'm excited. What do we have for the news for today? Do we
Yeah,
have
let's see.
some high impact news? I see we have CPI, but not from the US. We have CPI from Canada. So that is
So
not.
how? Yeah, but still, I mean, how if let's assume I'm going to be trading EU. How would you? I mean, because from what I understand, the Canadian dollar. I mean, what's happening? Canada can definitely influence the markets in the US if it's like. If it's a news event and the results are way out of the ordinary, I'm thinking that might affect the market. So for me, when it comes to EU, I might want to be a little bit careful. And where is Alex? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think Alex is right now. He's probably around somewhere in Africa on his bike, Africa or Europe. I don't know. There's a big difference though. But he's either in
Yes,
Africa or in Europe on a bike. That's where
maybe
Alex
on
is.
another continent. We're not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe on the other side of the ocean could also be. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I know for a fact that he's either in Europe or Africa, on a bike, and he's I think he got one of those bikes where he got a screen, and so he's probably if I know him, then he probably integrated TradingView into that screen. So he's probably like looking at the charts, and maybe he's even looking at us right now. Probably not. He got better stuff to do, man, than to watch. But well, you know what? He's probably watching us. Yes, he's definitely watching us. Are we trading gold today? No, we're not going to be trading gold today. Gold is tomorrow, but then we're going to have Sol on tomorrow. So I think probably Sol will dictate what we're looking at tomorrow. I think it's going to be a lot of EU tomorrow as well, if we're going to be honest, because I'm probably going to be trading the lower time frames with Sol on that. I want to. Yes, exactly. As the bike riding and trading gold. And by the way, guys, I don't know about you guys, but we all have our struggles and our issues in trading. I would love to hear your what you're struggling with most recently in trading. It'd be cool to hear your experience on that, and maybe bring it up and have a discussion around that. While we wait for that, I want to show you the results of the account. So okay, so here's the thing. I said that so this is my weakness when it comes to scalping. Okay, I said that I'm only going to be trading this. I'm only going to be trading this during the actual live trading rooms. But here's the thing with me and scalping. It's like I got stuff to do. I haven't done a lot of that stuff that I was supposed to be doing today. I've mostly been trading EU, and you can see here that we ended the live stream here yesterday, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades yesterday. I had a little dip right here. I believe I had a 3 trade losing streak right here, and now we're kind of continuing to the upside. And I definitely felt, I'm currently reading that book, The Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas, and talks a lot about. I actually just finished that one, and I like how he talks about. I've read it multiple times, but it's been a couple of years ago. But he talks about discipline as, he didn't use the words, but almost like a mindfulness exercise. It's like, what is discipline, right? And to me, I feel like discipline is when you're in the moment. You're in the moment and you're thinking about what you're thinking to make sure that you're doing the right things. So if I have a task, okay, let's say I time block 1 hour a day to do whatever, right? And if I'm doing that task and I feel like my focus is shifting to something else, discipline to me is the ability to recognize that that's happening and then pull yourself back into the moment. And in trading, that's very, very difficult, because when you're scalping the low time frames, I find myself today on EU, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna trade this way, and then there's a breakout. I'm like, you know what? That breakout looks nice. I'm gonna get in on that breakout, and of course that's then a loss because I deviated from what I was supposed to be doing, my original plan. And even if that's not a loss, it's a loss because I didn't follow the plan. So yeah, discipline to me very difficult in scalping, because these numbers of trades, okay, in 1.5 day, like 2 trading sessions, only like 4 hours of trading. This is like 4 hours of trading, and this to me could be 2 weeks of swing trading. So there's so much time between these executions when I'm swing trading. So I don't need to be as disciplined, but like discipline is, I have a certain level of discipline, and when that discipline is depleted for the day, I need to kind of take a step back and not continue trading. So I'm really, diving deep into the whole subject of discipline, and really understanding on a deep level what discipline really is and how to apply that to trading to be. And I want to view discipline as something active, something I'm doing. I'm not just having routines, but actually I'm disciplined because I'm acting disciplined. I'm actively being disciplined, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna stop rapping that.
I think you mentioned some very deep but very fundamental elements that we need as trader. And Henry here stated somewhat like a definition. According to Henry, discipline is to train oneself to do something in a controlled and habitual way. And I think that's a great way to define it. What you mentioned about discipline in that, according to the book you read, where it goes much deeper and it's more of a being present in the moment, a awareness, and I think you used another word, not awareness. You used what word did you use?
Mindfulness, I believe.
Mindfulness, correctly, mindfulness. And I think, to me, what I hear is you're talking about awareness, because awareness is what you need to be able to not only be present in the action the thing that you're doing, but actually be conscious and aware of how you are doing it. So you're looking at from a distant perspective, from a third person, and watching yourself saying, okay, am I over trading? Am I following my rules or not? Without, because when you're over trading, it's not that you're not present at the moment. You are chasing whatever you're doing, but you're not being aware in another level, watching yourself doing that whatever you're doing right now. So to me, what you just mentioned about mindfulness, I normally call that awareness. You need awareness to be able to keep your discipline, to keep yourself fulfilling that, or not fulfilling, following that trade plan. It's very, very important. And there are many people who do it different ways. You can do meditation for that awareness, for that mindfulness. There are some people who use, religious practices like prayer or something like that. or some other do it, different ways, and really it doesn't matter as long as you can achieve awareness, have that calm mind, and you're aware of everything you're doing, not just doing it as an autopilot. And the other thing I think you mentioned, which is separate from that awareness, is that which is so true, that the frequency of the trades, comparing scalping than swing trading, is a major difference in the risk of over trading. That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
Because now you're scalping, you are much more at risk of over trading than you would when you were doing swing trade, because automatically you need to wait. It is a different time frame, so the risk of being impulsive when you're swing trading is much less present. Also, because you have to wait longer once you're in. So when you do a bad trade, you're in perhaps for hours or a couple of days. Scalping, when you do a bad trade, you're out again a couple of minutes later, maybe. And so you're available to make that mistake again. So I think those things are quite important to realize for everyone who's considering scalping, and also having struggles with following their rules and being disciplined at trading or in life in general.
Yeah, no, I think it's that's super important. And just to comment here quickly, I haven't stopped swing trading. I'm just adding this as another fun thing to do, basically during these live trading sessions. And I'll talk a little bit more on. Well, actually, I can cover that now. Why I'm doing this? So there's two reasons to do this. I want to. One of the reasons why I'm doing this is, first of all, I'm this thing. Let me try to phrase it correctly. So what I'm doing here is not, the main goal of this is not to pass this evaluation. Okay, that's not the main goal. Okay, my main goal here is to be able to execute trades completely automatically when I see something, when I feel that a good trade is coming up. So I'm trying to remove all friction between the stage where you understand that you've seen a pattern. Okay, so I'm seeing a pattern right here, and I have a feeling that there's a certain probability of this moving to A or B, right? And the time between when you realize that you have an idea and executing on that idea, there's like a mental friction. You always, at least I'm doing this, you're pausing, and then you're thinking, and then you're executing. I want to remove that part. I want to try to make it as frictionless as possible, as effortless as possible. As soon as I identify that there's a pattern with a statistical probability of me having an edge, I'm going to execute on that idea right away without any hesitation at all. And I want to do that for as long as possible for it to become a routine and a habit. And for that to be possible, obviously, I need to be disciplined and not let my emotions, get in the way. And like with this trade right now, like it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel perfect, but it did feel quite nice when I entered the trade, and that's really all that matters, right? So I'm trying to remove that friction, and so it's basically it's the same exercise that Mark Douglas talks about in Trading in the Zone, where he talks about, he gives the reader an exercise where they're going to take a certain amount, deposit it into a broker, and then view that amount as a learning experience, a intuition towards your education. And that's what I'm doing right now. This bootcamp account cost me, $95, and I'm willing to risk that to be able to remove the friction of executing trades. With that said, I'm also swing trading, and I'm going to show you trading view here where I always have trading view open, and this is a trade that I'm currently in. Is in
Is it
on GB.
is it on the same account?
No. Of course not. This is the account that I'm scalping on the MetaTrader that I have open. That's the 25K bootcamp account that I'm only scalping with. And then
Okay.
with swing trading, this is my main trading where I'm trading all through, across all the accounts where I have the copy trader connected, and this is my main trading, and this is where I make money. Like on the scalping challenge that I'm doing now, I don't really expect that to be a winner, but if I can manage to just execute the trades right away when I get the first idea, I believe I'm able to I'm able to more easily trade intuitively from a discretionary point of view, and that's my goal. I want to be able to just follow price action from a unbiased perspective. So I
So
want to look at
basically, what you're saying is this new account where you're scalping in front of everyone. It is an experiment, a live experiment, right? Because it's live in front of everyone, where you are trying to practice that process where you execute without thinking too much. And that is the goal. You're practicing to make it a habit to see something, confirm it, and act without thinking too much. And you're doing it live, for our viewers, and you're putting a fixed amount of risk, which is the 95 you put in, right, to buy that account. And that is your tuition. That's the price. That's your risk. But you're doing it not to pass the account necessarily. The goal is just to practice execution without thinking too much.
Yeah. So there's if you look at, like, there's one thing that sets profitable traders and unprofitable traders apart. Now, assume that they have the same system. Okay, so assume that we're trading the same system and all the conditions are the same. We're taking the same trades and everything. But there's one very crucial aspect, and that is fear. Okay, so what level of fear do you have when you're trading? So I think for a new trader, when they place their very first trade, they're doing it effortlessly, and there's not really a lot of fear because they have nothing to compare that first trade against. Like when you first go into trading and you're just placing your orders for the first trade, it's like you don't really know what you're doing. You're not really understanding risk, and you don't really feel a lot. There's not a lot of emotions on that trade. And I would argue that when you place your first trade, the very first trade you take, you're closer to the mindset that you should be having at that very first trade. The more you trade, the more you start to recognize certain patterns, and you start to see, bearish candles as something negative and bullish candles as something positive, and you start to apply labels and emotions to price action. And that's when also you start seeing, like right now, I'm seeing my unrealized profit and loss here being negative. That has, obviously, for most traders, has a negative effect. The goal here is to not having that affecting you and not making decisions based on that unrealized profit and loss. And because I've already accepted the loss of this whole challenge, which is $95, I've already accepted that, then this could go either way. So it's an interesting experiment to also try to remove the whole fear of trading, basically.
Yeah, that's what you're doing is trying to mitigate the effects of extra things you're going to be seeing that we all see all the time, right? When you start, you don't have all those associations with those patterns or those information. You are more able to interpret because you have more experience. You have read perhaps more things as you are growing in experience as a trader. So it is a risk that you're going to have more noise, because while when you started off, you didn't know that much, so you couldn't, you're not reading into much because you didn't know as much. as the more you know, the more risk you have of having more, false positives or false alarms or noise in the signal, in the way you interpret the market. And I think that's what you're trying to do, right? Train yourself to, even though you have a lot of experience as an expert trading your system, train yourself to let go of everything and put it in the background and only focus on the pattern that you're actually trading, and trading it without thinking too much, without self-doubt, without double checking, double thinking anything, just execution right away. And that is something difficult as you have more experience, because you know more things, you know more indicators, you know more patterns, and it's easier to get paralyzed by analysis, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're cutting that paralysis short in its track right after you see the pattern. You stop analyzing, you execute, right? You're muted.
Okay, so I got out of the trade here with the news coming up. So after the CAD news, I'll look to enter another position. Now, looking at EU here, it's in a very tight range, and I've basically just been, as you can see here, I've been playing this range from buying support and selling resistance. I closed this trade up here, and now, based on what's happening with the news, I will probably look to enter another short around this area up here. So if I see a clear, if I see a clear, so the reason why I exited this trade was, first of all, because we broke above this structure right here. What MetaTrader is so weird. And now everything is gone. Okay, so the reason why I sold this is because we broke above this level, like this general area right here. Because the idea was basically I wanted to short this move. So I looked at a rounded top here, and I wanted to short it, down to this area. And now we're breaking above that area. And now I'm looking at this area right here to see if we could potentially get a top in here. So on the 1 minute,
if you want to, if I may interrupt you, if you want to keep a structure on MT5, zoom out a little bit. Zoom out a little, not too much. There. Do you see at the middle of the bar you have a little black dot? Right. If you double click on the object and you make it go away, it's unselected.
Okay.
So, and
Nice.
if it's selected,
perfect.
everything you delete, everything that is selected will be deleted. I think that's what happened. So
Nice.
now that one won't be deleted anymore.
Nice. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
MT5 is not user friendly as a trading view.
Not really. So on EU here, I think overall EU is quite bullish, and we do have a fairly strong breakout here. This is on the 4-hour. We have a very strong bullish trend right here, and honestly, I think most of my winners on this scalping this has been to the upside. So there's definitely definitely a lot of truth in that. You want to be trading with the trend, because the impulse moves to the upside is most likely bigger in an uptrend than the moves to the down. So there's more upside basically in a
even with a scalping, right? Because that would be very true for trend followers and swing traders. As a scalper, you would think that it's less important, but what you're saying is insightful. Even with a scalper, it makes a lot of difference the direction you take based on the higher time frame bias.
Yeah, now you can see that level being used as resistance. Like we have news coming up in 5 minutes, so it's like I really feel like it's not the best time to enter. But if we get a rejection up here, I mean, and I've, as you can see, I've added stochastics here as well. Well, I'm really tempted in taking this trade on the close of that candle. But because of the fact that we do have CAD news coming up in 4 minutes after this candle is closing, and I know that there is a chance that CAD CPI can definitely impact the price, and I'm scalping, so there might be slippage. There might be things that now we don't even have that entry trigger anyway. So it doesn't really matter. What we're looking at now is potentially a breakout, potentially seeing a breakout to the upside, and this trend continuing. So we got this resistance level above. If we can break this level to the upside and perhaps reclaim this as support, or price showing us that there's some type of support going on here, then I might want to be trading this to the upside.
Nice,
We'll see.
nice.
We'll see
And
what
gold
happens.
is breaking all-time highs all the time, and even as we speak, it's pushing that record constantly. So maybe we can.
Let's take a look at gold. Maybe you can take a look at gold, and I will continue to monitoring EU, and I will let you know if there's any trades.
Sure. Let me change this. There we go. All right. So what we see in gold, without going too much, I mean, we have just left. If you look on the higher time frame, we have left this consolidation we had before, and it's clearly at the way. Let me make this bigger, since for everyone who's watching from a smaller screen. Hold on, that line wasn't the intention, right? We have left this area of consolidation, right? And you can see it's not the way we left it, the way we broke out of it, of that area, with all the order blocks that are and have been taken out. That one is taken out, and that one as well, right? This one as well, by the way. Well, what we have is we have a continuum of bullish order flow expressed in the bullish order blocks being created, and while the bearish ones are not being created, right? So it's really one-sided. It's telling us who is in control, right? You have one here, another there, comes back to retest that order block, and as we speak, well, actually last week it formed another one, right? So you have 3 order blocks being formed consecutively. So it's a very one-sided, very impulsive, very strong move on to the buy side, and it's breaking that all-time high. It started doing that 3 days ago when it broke that this level. Currently, that was at 24.83 and a bit, but it doesn't show any signs of stopping, right? Also on the hour, on the daily, it's also break and showing those bullish order blocks being formed, and they're not being even retested, right? This one isn't formed yet because this candle hasn't closed, but it's not coming back and retesting those order blocks. And even when it forms an outside bar, right? We mentioned this in the live stream. Even when it forms it has no problem breaking a bearish outside bar, right? That should tell us something. Who is in control? The way it handles and invalidates. Look at that big bar, right? So there is. It's really one-sided. It's very bullish. And what do we see on the more currently on the H4? We have that order block being formed. Price. What does price do? Gets out, retest that order block, and then moves out. Perfect price action to be trading. This happened though in Asian session, so that wouldn't be something I would be looking to be trading, because it's outside of my trading window. But it's still very, very bullish, and it keeps on making higher highs. You can see that bullishness. Where is the impulsive moves on gold? Right, to the upside, right? So it's firmly bullish. All right, so what else can we see? There is a H4 order block. That's where I would be buying if it comes back to retest that. Doesn't seem to be wanting to do that anytime soon. So to me, I'm not a breakout trader, so I wouldn't be buying this as it is going down. I would be buying, right? If you guys know me, when it forms an order block and it comes back to retest it, that is the area that I would be interested on the lower time frame to catch a move out, right? To me, this is already the ship already sailed. So I'm just watching it. Certainly, I'm not going to short this, because all of this bullishness doesn't make sense to me to short it, unless the market switches and starts showing bearishness and weakness, which it isn't showing. So to me, there isn't anything. Either you're already in the trade, or you're waiting for some kind of retracement to some demand area, which we don't see yet. So if it does come back into this area, maybe that could be something that I could be trading. Not this order block, because that one has been already tapped into. I'm not too interested in that order block, but that little thing here that sits on top of it, that could be a reason for me to, if it happens. It's only a conditional scenario. I have really no
looks
idea.
like a good level. I mean, I would take that trade as well. That looks, that's on the that's the break and retest. I would probably take that trade as well if you have nice bounce.
That would be something. I think if it happens today, the CPI already came out, and we have it is. Let's see, the actual was slightly lower than the forecast by a 0.1%, which is not a lot, but the CPI month on month is as expected. So there's not a lot of surprise there. And we, CPI in Canada shouldn't affect gold as much, although sometimes it's an indirect data, right? So if it is an indication of how, since Canada and the States are, their economies are intertwined by a lot, it may be a sign of what's happening as well in its bigger brother or neighbor. So in that sense, CAD news, CPI being inflation, can have an effect on gold, but it didn't have any effect. If we go to the lower time frame, it had really zero effect on price of gold. So it's an indirect, and it's not as impactful as if it were to be CPI on US dollar itself. So that's the idea that I see in the market, right? You want to be buying. You don't want to be buying as it is breaking and making all-time high right there. You want it to come back to some kind of value, offer you some kind of value, and where you can define your risk tighter, and potentially, getting it ready for a continuation. That's on the H4. If we go to the lower time frames, I don't see any place where I would be interested in buying this. Other than that, I think, I don't see. It'll be the same area where I would think that makes sense to me for a continuation, right? And when it comes to this area, I would go to the lower time frame to fine tune my entry to the max. Let's look at euro dollar.
Before you move on, let's I want to look at, just give you guys my thoughts on gold as well. I think
Sure.
it's going to be pretty much the same. Oh, there's a lot of levels on here. I gotta remove some stuff here. That's better. Yeah, so looking at the daily, we finally broke above this. And by the way, this is the indicator that's going to be adding these levels here, and you see that I think they're quite good on the daily. I like these horizontal levels actually. They're not adding on the 4 hour here. Well, let's go in and see. What if I add them? What if I can adjust it to the 4 hour? No, it's not adding the upper one. That's a miss, I would say. I would like to have a level there on the upper level, but for me, this is very very straightforward. Just create a. Actually, I would encapsulate this whole area like that. Yeah, I think I will look at that, and yeah, I mean it's a very clean breakout here. If I want to be sure that I get filled, I will probably put some orders on that wick. What I would like to see here, if we can add the fibs here as well. Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. So if we get a level down here, we're gonna move down here, and then just a rounded bottom formation, that would be perfect. I think something like that is I would really like to see on gold, but I think gold moves quite quickly, and we haven't really seen any proper, like it trades almost like gold. So I think I probably can't wait for confirmation on the 4 hour, because on the 4 hour it's if price bounces here, then it's probably just going to be a wick on the 4 hour. So I would probably have to look at the 1 hour, but I like this candle, the breakout candle, very clean, very clear, untested level, almost no wicks on that one. Just a lot of buying pressure. So yeah, I think a retest of that 2,510-ish area is slightly lower is what I would be looking at on gold. All right, let's take a look at EU. I think you could start there. Yeah, and the we're getting questions on the indicator as well. All you have to do is just go to indicator section in the MetaTrader, not the Trading View, not MetaTrader, and then type in SRMTF, and you're going to get this one right here called Support Resistance Channel Zones by some loan sum something. That one right there. All right, take a look at the EU.
Yes. Before we do that, there was a very interesting question.
Oh, and I took a trade on EU, by the way. Let me show you.
All right.
That first.
Would you like to show? Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let me show you guys that first. So, yeah, I said that I wanted to short this area, and I waited 2 minutes after the news. So when the 2-minute window was over, because we didn't really have a reaction, like it was just a non-event. And so I waited just 2 minutes, and then we had that. I'm gonna zoom in and really show you what I'm talking about here, so you really get what I'm saying here. Okay, so this candle right here, this is a strong bullish candle with a wick. This one right here, like this is not the type of candle you want to short, okay? But then you have a bearish candle, and then the one after that being a bearish candle. So when that one closed, like the close of this candle was my trigger to short basically, and price went up a little bit, and I managed to get filled around here. And my take profit target was actually just this area right here. It's a very quick scalp. It's basically from this level down to this level right here, because you have that low time frame support right there. So that was like in half an hour trade or something like that. We can look at the history for today, and you see that I have, no, this is the full history, isn't it? No, this is today, and then I'm gonna just show positions, and here you can see that we are. Oh, I've taken quite a few trades, but you see the profit should be like $29, but I'm down $14, and that's because of the commissions, obviously. So with more trades, and if I'm like I need a couple of more winners, that is slightly bigger to actually pay for the commissions. But you can see here that I've started out the day with one winner, and then had 3 losers in a row, and then I went back to winning a little bit. Yeah, I don't really enjoy it. If I'm going to be honest, I actually don't really enjoy it, because it just takes over my whole thought process. Like it's just the only, like all I think about is scalping, and I get completely caught up with price action. So I'm not sure I really enjoy it, but we'll see. If it's profitable, then it's profitable. But at the end of the day, I think this exercise will be quite beneficial, because hopefully I'll be able to, because I will then take this into my swing trading, and have the same approach. As soon as I see something, as soon as there's a setup forming, I will enter without any hesitation.
Yeah, and remember what Sol told us about how he only trades about an hour, maybe 2 hours scalping, because he knows that that's where he's still sharp, and that's exactly what you're telling, because it's much more taxing on your mental equity, right? You have it asks a lot more in terms of concentration and focus than it would be otherwise on your swing trade. So that's a down, right? That's a disadvantage of scalping. It takes more, but that's exactly why you're doing this experiment. It's to find out what are your limits, what are your strengths and weaknesses, and is this something you're going to be adding to your system or not, to your existing system. Or is it something you still have to work on, maybe tweak it, maybe adapt to it, maybe, you know, it being on a different time frame, maybe, you know, you may adapt certain things that you would not, you know, consider on your swing trades, but that could make sense on this lower time frame as scalping. So
Yeah.
I think it's all of those make sense for you to do that experiment. It's basically what all traders should do, right? Not necessarily scalping, but I mean, you should. What you're doing is experimenting as a trader before you have that, you know, consistency, profitability. You are testing out things. You are testing your strategy, and you're adding and subtracting or taking away a couple of, you know, indicators or confluence or, you know, things in your trade plan. You're basically experimenting, right? Trying things
Yeah.
out to see and measuring what the effect is. And by doing that, this way, you get the idea. Okay, I should be doing more of this and less of that, etc. Until you crystallize the trade plan that you should be trading going forward for longer term. So this is what you're doing, is basically in a on another time frame, but it's basically the same thing everyone should be doing. You know, from that kind of perspective. There
I
was
want to get
someone.
better at MetaTrader though. Like I want to get better at, because it's I definitely think I'm trading differently with MetaTrader than I would if I would be doing all my analysis on TradingView, because everything just looks so different. But so I think that's also a learning curve to understand that, because like when I'm swing trading, I do everything in TradingView and then I just copy all the prices. But here for EU, it's not as clear what I'm doing, but I see this. So this structure right here is at that range highs. So what I'm seeing is range lows, and we have an uptrend, and then a top here, and then we broke down here. So this is what I view as a potential new downtrend forming in this area right here, and that's why I decided to short this down move, taking profits closer to the range lows, and then stop loss above the range highs. So if you look at the actual range, then stop loss is above this range where price have not been traded since entering this range. So basically, in this case, I've seen that EU, just like yesterday when we traded EU, it was trading sort of in a range, and this seems to be working fairly interesting um, in a range, basically.
There was one
And
question I think is quite relevant for you and for everyone who might be trading the same way, on a short time frame and making those quick decisions that you're trying to do. My question is, I didn't ask you this before, and I wonder why, but doesn't matter. Are you using hotkeys with that position size calculator?
no, but I probably should. But I'm just, what I do is I put in, so what I have is I have show and hide lines here, right? So I'm
Yes.
just moving these lines around. So if I wanted to short this area, for example, I press show lines, and then
Yes.
I'm moving the stop loss, and I'm moving the TP, and then I press trading, and then I have removed the ask for confirmation. So as soon as I press trade, I will enter a position. But what I can do is I can, of course, just put in a hotkey, because I always have my left hand on my stream deck, because here I can mute, I can change some things in the stream, but I can also optimize it to place an order. And I can, of course, also put in the lot size, position size on that order, but I want my position sizer to calculate that position size for me.
Yes, that's something that could eliminate some kind of that same friction you mentioned. It's not mental friction, but it's still friction. Anything that could make it more easier, less friction, can help your scalping this experiment or endeavor. And what you can do is, I think you need to, if you want to do it on the keyboard, for everyone at home, you need a script. And you can find it the same place you have the PSC, the position size calculator, which you can find, I believe, on the website Earn Forex. It's free for this person who asked us, is the position size indicator free? Yes, it is. It can be. It's very useful. I use it all the time, every day. And you can use it. You don't have to be a scalper to need it and to use it. It's just common sense to use a position size calculator. And it's on earnforex.com, if I'm not mistaken. PSC, I think the initials are. And what you can do then is there is also a script you can download, put in, and you can set the hotkeys on your keyboard. So in one hand, you're moving the stop loss with the mouse with your right hand, let's say, if you're right-handed, and you already have your left hand on those hotkeys. So as soon as you release that, assuming that you have the TP already at the place where you're expecting, you can move the stop loss, and as soon as you let it go and you have a stop loss put in, you with your other hand, with a fraction of a second, you could be entering a trade with the exact perfect lot size. And that's something for scalpers that to me it makes a difference. I have edge in that. I've noticed. I've measured it. I get better. My expectancy goes up because I lose that little delay that I should be getting, since I trade on the 1 minute as well for my entries. And I know if I have to look to the keyboard, to type in, or that 2-3 seconds, I measured that I'm losing there. So it's a great this user, no problem. That's why we are here, right? Yeah, that's something I think it's very helpful for everyone, having that position size calculator set on your MD5.
It looks like EU is breaking above this range right now. So yeah, maybe it's time. Maybe you can take a look at the EU if you're done.
Yeah. There is another thing with the position size calculator that I find very useful is could you go to trading on your calculator there? Maybe you have a different. Let me open up mine. Oh, okay. I think it's on this. You don't have any script tab, do you?
No.
No. Okay. All right. I have one with a script tab, and I'm not sure if it's the different version or not, but I can put in comments in advance. Let's say you're trading two strategies on one account, and you want an easy way to distinguish which one is which. One thing you can do is you can put in comments beforehand, and let's say you're starting next hour, you're going to be scalping. You put in scalping, and then when it opens the trade with a script, it will put in on the comment section in the history, you will have scalping, the comments showing up. And that's a very easy way to identify later on, even without using any kind of journaling software. Just by looking your history, you can identify which ones are which. And that's that. I think that there's a lot of basically you're labeling your trades easily and automatically without much hassle. That's one thing.
Yeah.
The other thing, before we move on to EU, there was a very, I think, there we go. We have a one person, Menachem, asking, what's the fundamental reason for the upsurge in gold? Well, it depends on what time frame you're talking about. If you're talking about today, I think it's, all-time high, being broken, technical levels, and everyone getting in. That could be one reason. But if you're talking about macro level, then there are many things that push gold all the time higher. And one of those things is inflationary pressure, right? You have inflation is gold is seen as a hedge for inflation, and it's when inflation is higher, or the expectation is to be higher, that it goes higher. If there's a risk of inflation, gold tends to go up. That's one thing. There is, on the geopolitical arena, if there's uncertainty, gold tends to go up, and that can be, the risk of a war or conflict, but it can also be like trade war with China. right? That's uncertainty for investment. So that is also geopolitical uncertainty. Is another reason why gold can thrive on and be bullish. And there are a couple of other things, like if you look back, that a huge portion of the world population compared to, let's say, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, has gone from a lower economical power, purchasing power, and you think in terms of the biggest, more populous countries like India and China, compared to 30 years ago, the middle class is much, much bigger. Middle class being much bigger, one of the things they do, as you know, as the purchasing power of a class, of a portion of the population goes up, more people are able to buy jewelry, right? So, and that's gold, right? So and considering that gold has a finite resource, right? It's not something you can print like fiat money. So that drives price as well. Demand, physical demand. And the other thing is that this is something a little bit broader as well. But if you compare to a couple of decades ago, we have a declining confidence in fiat money, right? Especially with the advent of crypto, right? That's one of the things that pushes crypto higher, right? It's the thought that fiat money, may not be the, pun intended, the golden rule, right? That's where you should have your money. No, maybe you should diversify that, right? So and gold is always has been an alternative for fiat money, in that term as well. So there are many things, and I haven't mentioned all of them, many things that on a greater scale, on a macro level, has a bullish pressure on gold, right? So all of them, depending on what you're thinking about gold, all of them are possible, and certainly they are exerting pressure on gold. If you look at and I'm not talking about today necessarily, but I mean through the years and decades. And if you look to the higher time frame, you will see that gold has a steady graph going up, and that's because of those macroeconomical factors. All right, so let's look at I think that question is quite important if you're trading gold. If you're interested to know the fundamentals, the bigger picture, what's happening, and if you know that, then you can perhaps realize when things may change for gold in terms of bullishness, bear market. When will it start going down or going up, right? For example, the risk of a conflict in Middle East, for example. There's a lot of tension there, so all of those things can push price of gold higher. Let's look at EU, right? So that was where we were going to. I'm going to put my screen on, and let's look. For today, we're going to go to a, let me get to the, right? So this is the daily, as you can see, on EU, and I'm going to let these structures that I put on out of the analysis for now, because those are higher time frames, and the idea is to go really for today. What can we expect today? As you can see, we have a very nice, and I've been talking about, very nice rounded movement in EU. That's bullish, without identifying swing points, higher high, market structure, where are the biggest bars being formed. This nicely curved bottom is already a something very bullish that we see from afar. The other thing we can consider is that we have on the higher time frames, we go to the weekly. We are currently in a weekly supply area. Let me get that arrow out of the way. This supply area, and this is the last line in the sand for the bearish scenario to work out, right? So if this doesn't work, if the weekly is able to close above this level, then the reversal pattern expressed as a quasi will be invalidated. So that's very important for this week, next week, any of the coming end of the week sessions, to see how the weekly will close. Well, that's very exciting because it may change, although it's not showing anything on the intraday levels. This is just pure bullishness. It's forming bullish order block, and it's going how do you say that, impulsively higher. So on the weekly, we do have a structure for a reason, the last reason for it to reverse. We'll have to see how it handles that. And on the daily, we also have another, and those two structures, they do have a lot of overlap. And this is the last side. Let me see, is it the last? Yes, this is the last order block on the daily as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that's the last order block. So on the daily as well, this is the last line in the sand for. So you have two time frames telling you that it's either now, and now doesn't mean today or so, but I mean it's either on this swing up on the higher time frames, it's going to reverse and go all the way down, or we're going to have sustained bullishness going forward. And I mean that coming weeks, coming months, etc. All right, so it's quite important to know this test. Will it pass this test or not? And this is the daily order block, which it needs to invalidate. Last time around, it caused we had that bullishness coming into it, right, just like now. And we had after that, it pushed price way, way lower. And the question is, will it do the same when it gets to this area? We don't know that. And it looks like it's going to continue as of now. But that was the same thing you could have thought when price were going as bullish and going into this order block, right, the first time around. The fact that it's the second time around speaks to the declining probability of it holding this time. But it doesn't mean there's no certainty, so it can still do its job and as a supply zone and push price lower. So the question is, I would expect, if you ask me, I would expect at least some kind of reaction from this area. So I would expect that before it breaks it, that it will have some kind of retracement, and perhaps then a continuation, which is, I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know for sure. But if it is going to break, I expect this movement to happen, maybe this order block or maybe somewhat lower, before it continues and break out. This is not a prediction. I don't know what's going to happen, but I would think that because it's quite bullish already, and it takes a lot of force, volume, to break right away and close, on the other side of that defense line, which is basically what the supply order block is. So that's on the macro level. On the daily, we don't have anything else to talk about. We have that daily order block and the weekly, and both of them tell us that this is a great area to be watching for that reversal pattern possibly occurring in the coming sessions, and that deceleration, compression of the bodies. But as you can see, it's not happening, right? The bodies are not getting smaller, right? If I may indicate with some arrows, they're not getting smaller. Look at this body. Look at that body. Look at that one before. They're not getting smaller. So price action is king, right? Price action is telling me that which may happen is not happening right now. And we need to follow price action, right? The fact that I indicated there's a supply zone there, that's a possibility. It's not a prediction. We don't predict as traders. We follow price action. If price starts giving you those compressed bodies, those deceleration, reversal in a relevant area, then then you can use that scenario of a possible reversal starting from here. But if not, you have to just discard it and follow price action. So what do we see? We see bullishness.
Just to quickly mention, like that level.
Which level?
The order block here. I'm currently looking at shorting this move if there's confirmation here, and I'm I'm looking at the 1 minute, but I'm basically looking at just, we have a breakout. So on the 1 minute, it's just one move into that level, and now I'm looking for some type of like a very clear rejection, like right where we're trading right now, and then I would take it down to the to where we had this breakout. So it's interesting, we're looking at the same levels here again, even though you're looking at the higher time frames now, and I'm looking at the 1 minute.
Yeah. So these are the structure, I think, relevant structures for the market on this time frame, and I start from top down all the way, always, because I want to be able to on the 1 minute make decisions that are rhyming or are aligned with the higher time frame, because that makes it possible for me to hold that trade and make those big R multiples wins, right? If you can't do that if you don't have the higher time frames aligned with your low intraday minutes entry. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult, almost impossible. All right, so that's what I see on the daily. And for me, if I have a intraday setup, and what I mean by that is if I have the H4 telling me that we could have a reversal, a setup, the H4, the H2 or 1, and then a entry on the minute, I will still not be able to hold this overnight unless I see that there is a chance that the daily as well could signal that day or the next day. So normally, the way I short this as a swing trade is I wait for the daily to start showing bearish order block before I get in. So if I get an entry now short, which would be based on the H4 going down, I will not hold it. Typically, I will not hold it through the night. Because I understand that unless the daily switches over, right, goes transitions into bearish order flow, it's likely that whatever I took, that signal that I took, is only a short-lived, retracement until it, the higher time frame catches back and pushes price much higher again. So I'm still waiting for me to hold this trade. I want to see something like either something we had the first time. It didn't form a outside bar last time around, and so at least on the daily, there was not a lot of information for me to hold this trade, get in and hold it all the way down. It's dependent on a couple of things. I may be able to hold it like overnight, only to give it a little bit more time. Let's say if I have an entry at the end of the day, that makes it more possible for me to hold it, let's say, to the early morning the next day or by noon. But if I get it on the beginning of the day and it doesn't really start moving, going down, then it's very difficult for me to hold it, because I know that sooner or later the higher time frames will come in and will push prices much higher. So I need to see price action on the higher time frame on the daily needs to tell me, yes, you can hold this overnight and you can swing this. If they're not telling that on the day on D1, then I have no business holding that trade and upgrading it from an intraday trade to a swing trade. So on the daily is not telling us yet. It's bullish as it can get. So I'm not going to at this moment, I'm not going to hold anything longer than just for the end of the day. And on the H4, I don't see any order blocks being formed that I can use. There is this order block, which is the outside bar here. That could be a reason where I can go long, but not short. That's what I'm talking about. So I don't see any prices not breaking any structure. To me, the H4, this is the neckline for the quasi, which hasn't. We're far away from that. We haven't even attempted to break that structure. So we need to see on the lower time frames. On the H2 would be the structure to be broken. Actually, that's not true. It's going to be here. This is the structure to be broken on the H2, and on the H1, it's a little bit tighter. It's here. But even in any case, it's not breaking those structures. So if price action is not breaking structures, then I have no business trying to look for a short yet. Although we are in a very, very attractive place to start looking for a macro, a higher time frame daily short, but it needs to confirm. It needs to tell me that it wants to do that. If it's not doing that, then we can't force price to do what we want. We need to follow price as it is forming what it wants to do. So there's bullishness all around. That's what I see. And to me, on the H4, this will be the area that I'm interested in, that area, but we're so far away. That's not going to produce a signal for today. Other than that, if you're looking for a less selective entry, then of course, this is the area that price could come back into. We have multiple order blocks being in there. I see an outside bar as well, and this is on the H2. So that could be a trade, a scalp trade for anyone interested in picking getting a little piece of this action. The only thing I would like to check is the ATR for EU for today, and the ATR very favorable. The ATR for today is the range of today is at 27, and the ATR is roughly at the average range is roughly between 66 and 69. So we still have about 30 pips, 30 something, or actually 40 pips of movement outside of the current daily range. And the question is, which side will it be? Will it be to the upside or to the downside? Given the market structure, given the bullishness of the market, I would expect it to be to the upside. If that is true, and if it's going to continue going to the upside, where would it bounce? Where can we get in? And that's with the area you're watching right now, right? So that could be something to be played today. Other than that, I don't see any other area. Let's see if we go to the 15 minute and we can pinpoint. This is the range of today. That's the lower of the day, the low of today, and this is the high of today. Right? The ATR being at 66, let's say 66, that means that either that could be the top of today and it will go much lower into that order block, right? Or it could be on the other side and it would be 65 coming back to that area. Look at that, 66, and see that blue line. Why is there a blue line? Because that's the area that we have a previous high in, right? That's this level. This level is at 1139. If you go, you don't see it because I have it invisible on the 1139. See that? That's the level. So it makes a lot of sense in terms of the ATR of today that it does something similar to this. If it does this, it will be 100% ATR, which is, as you would expect. So that could be a nice area for anyone trying to catch a trade for today. I'm going to zoom in and see if we can find some structures on the lower time frames to get some idea where could that happen, right? This is not a quasi, by the way, but we do have all of this area basically is one big demand area on the H1 as well, which is wider than the H2. So I would just regard that H1. And if we go to lower time frames, we can spot a couple of if you get right about below the 50% retracement, you could be thinking about this level on the 15-minute or something more deeper, which could be this. Let me see. Yep, it hasn't been invalidated. So it could be something like that. Those two areas using the H2, H1, and 15 minutes could be the areas that if the market comes back to retest, right, do some kind of break and retest as you like to trade, Jonathan. That,
I think that looks really good for break and
something
retest.
like that. I think your level would be right. I'm not sure how you do that, where your levels would be, but in any case, I would be interested in how price comes back to this area and eventually.
That's pretty much the same. That's pretty much the same level that I would be looking at.
And you could be, target the whole area, whole demand area, or you could decide to, make it tighter. That's up to you. And then target, if you're going for an intraday trade, right? Trying to hold it, see if you can hold it up to close to the 100% ATR of that day, right? That could be a trade for today, offering you above 3%, above the 1 to 3. That's only if it comes back into your area, right? It doesn't have to do that. It can just continue, and then there's nothing to do in my case, in my opinion. All right, that's EU for you, for everyone back basically. all the way from the weekly relevant area, line in the sand, all the way to an intraday buying opportunity.
All right, that's nice. I'm still looking at EU here. I'm obviously probably taking a bit too many trades. Still in. I mean, I'm still in profit on the account, and it's quite difficult to get a like going from swing trading, looking at the 4 hours, and then looking at 1 minute. It's definitely something different. But you come into when you get into nice flow, it's nice. You know, you just follow. Interesting to be able to follow price one tick at a time, you know?
Yeah, I enjoy it too. I can
You can,
spend, I lose track of the time while reading price action.
yeah, and that's the problem I have with scalping. You know, it's just I'm sitting here and I'm just staring at price action. Like I'm almost getting hypnotized by the way these candles are moving, and I'm just hyper focused on what's happening here on the screen. And but yeah, it's interesting. It's even more interesting when you're able to able to make money. But yeah, I see. No, I'm not looking at the tick chart. I'm just looking at the 1 minute here, but I can't show you guys what I traded here. I the first trade I went short here, closed that one here, and then shorted that move down, closed that one here, went long here, and closed that one here. So just, you know, on this small price move, got three trades in, and now I'm looking at this level where, you know, I was looking at a potential rejection at this level to go, okay,
That's a nice move. What is that?
oh yeah, I don't know, like that's this red line right here. That's a daily level. So now we now I'm looking to potentially short this. If let's go to the 5 minute. You know, this is not the type of price action I want to short. Actually, this looks very strong. The problem is I don't know what levels would be interesting. Well, actually, like it's such a high time frame resistance here, but this zone is quite big. I mean, we do have like that level above. We might actually, or even that one, we might have a decent break to the upside here. A way big move to the upside, you know, to fill that whole area.
Yeah, the market is getting a lot of movement right now. At least that's what it seems. We have that one big 1 minute candle a minute ago, about 6.3 pips, and that is 3 times its ATR. That should give you an idea, right? Normally, 1 minute bar is about 1.9, currently 1.9 pips, and this one was 6 point, let's see what it was, 6.3. So more than 300%. So that's how you measure it according to compared to the last couple of bars. There's a lot of volume coming in, and it's probably because, you know, it's breaking that high again. So all the trend followers are, you know, hopping in with those orders, and that's what makes it those bigger candles, presumably.
Yeah. I'm having a quite difficult time reading this price action. I think that's a good reason probably not
do
to
anything.
trade, you know.
Yep.
I would say that throughout the course of this experiment, I've definitely been over trading, you know. I mean, 16 trades in 2 sessions is a bit too much. You
Yeah.
know what, guys? Let's have a 10-minute break, and when we're back, I'm gonna get some coffee. We'll have a 10-minute break, and when we're back, hopefully we got some interesting structure here in EU. And I'm probably not gonna. I might not take another trade here on EU, so we'll go and we'll take for the rest of the live stream. We'll do a quick overview of the Forex market. Maybe look at some of the other pairs on the higher time frames as a swing trading perspective
Guys,
as
guys
well.
at home, check Jonathan's terminal when we get in. See if maybe when we come back, he's actually in a trade already.
So maybe, probably. All right, we're above 80. We're at 83 likes right now. Let's get that to 100. It would be amazing to have 100 likes on this live stream today. So let's hit that like button, and we'll see you guys in 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
right, so yeah, I took a trade here, as you can see. It's short. I mean, we did, you know, you see this red line right there. That was that daily level.
Nice.
And then we had that 5-minute candle, like right on that level. So you know that was the idea. So I felt like, yeah, I mean, gotta take it. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to just,
No
I
friction.
think exactly. It's not think about it too much. And if you look at the 1 hour, I mean, yes, I'm kind of shorting a strong move to the upside. So you know, it does feel like I'm probably gonna get stopped up, but with that being a rejection on you know, on the lower time frames at a high time frame level, and then we get a very clean level below, and I'm taking profits right before that level, I still feel like it's you know, worth trying it out. And then if you look at 1 minute, it's kind of like if you combine this 1 minute price action, especially if this current candle would close uh with this type of wick, then I'd like that, you know. But combining this type of 1 minute structure with the 5 minute showing that rejection, it kind of seems like the move that we saw, that breakout move, is kind of, it's losing momentum, obviously, because this was the momentum, like one push, pause, and then one push. But now then we had a little bit of a different structure right here. All right. That's
Nice.
let's see what we have. All right, so we are at 90. How many likes? 97. Let's see. Yeah, 97. Awesome, guys. That's amazing. We almost have 100 likes on this video. So thank you a lot for that. Thank you for the support. It really does help. And you know, we do look at the likes of the live stream, and we try to, you know, determine what type of content you guys like, and what type of trading sessions do you guys like. And I do have a feeling that you know, you guys are here for live trading, so that's what we want to try to deliver. You know, more live trading like this one right here. Yeah, Henry, I thought about it, but then I decided not to, basically. So I'm gonna spare you that.
I'm
Oh
not
man,
sure if
guys,
that's gonna get us more likes.
oh, definitely gonna get more likes. That's definitely gonna get us more likes. But yeah, man, I'm tired today. Like I'm really tired today. I had a bad night's sleep, but it's the first day of school for the kids, which is it feels pretty nice. You know, back to routines. It's always nice to have some routines again, especially when you're, you know, working from home like I'm doing at my office here at home. It's you know, summertime is obviously um, not not as easy to be focused, you know.
Yeah, it's the end of
It's
the summer
nice to,
vacation time, right? For
yeah, exactly.
your part of Europe, which is
Yeah,
most part as well, I think.
yeah,
Nice, nice.
yeah, yeah. Scalping is very energy consuming, I must say. Very draining. Yeah, very draining. And it's like, what I don't, what I think one of the mistakes I usually do is, I mean, this is quite clear. We can look at this. I think this is a very good structure. You see here, you have a very clear level. This gray area right here, that's a clear level, and then the one below, that's a clear level. And you can also see that, you know, uh this here, good buying opportunity, bullish engulfing candle, good buying opportunity, bullish engulfing candle here, the pullback here, that's a good buying opportunity. And then you have this one as well, good buying opportunity, and that one. And then you can look at the resistance as well. Uh like bearish engulfing, that's a good one, bearish engulfing, yeah, basically every bearish engulfing at resistance or bullish engulfing at um support is a good trade. But then you have this breakout, and now it's like, okay, what's how am I supposed to be trading this now? Because now there's no clear levels being established here in the lower time frames. You have a breakout move, and there's just But I find it difficult to just let go. When I'm scalping, I find it quite difficult to just say, okay, let's just wait. And good question right here. Am I a directional trader or scalper? I guess I would, even with my um, swing trading approach, I would say that I do look at trades now from a more of a scalper perspective, where I'm looking to just trade it from one level to the very next immediate level. But one thing I've found here is when I'm trading EU, I like there to be a low time frame range. I can trade it much more easily when it's a low time frame range, but when I'm swing trading, I need a trend. So yeah, I guess both, depending on my approach. But again, I'm not a scalper. This is what I'm doing here is not really what I usually do. What I usually do is, that swing trading approach on the where I base my entries on the 4 hour. That's how I usually trade. So I wouldn't really look at the way I'm trading here as a good representation of me as a trader. It could be. I mean, who knows? In a couple of, because I'm going to continue this either until I lose the account or pass the evaluation. And I do suspect that I'm going to be hovering around break even. So it might take a very long time, because I'm risking small and I occasionally have a pretty good winning streak, which means I'm probably going to be hovering around break even. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
By the way, there was a question we didn't get to answer before we took that break. Someone asked, what are you risking per trade on this experimental account?
0.25%, but that's if my original stop loss gets hit, which I usually don't let that like for this trade right here. Yeah, then that stop loss is probably going to get hit, and I'll lose 0.25%.
That's your hard stop loss, and you have a mental one, which
Yeah,
is
exactly.
much less. Okay.
Actually, looking at this right. Yeah, so actually looking at this right now, if price gets above that level, yeah, I'm probably going to close the trade for a smaller loss, because I entered based on this market structure shift right here, when we went below that level, and now we're above that level. So the next level above, if we break above that one as well, then it's better to just close the trade.
Okay.
So my losers are not always going to be 1 hour, if that makes sense.
That makes complete sense, of course. Yeah, that means that your average loss will be less than 1 R. I have that too, since I have some statistically, I think this is quite nice to talk about. I of course, 1 R is how I measure everything, because that's the R multiple, right? So that is the hard stop. However, in my data, the same as you, not every trade goes to. In my case, it's not about having a close it in before the stop loss, which you do by a mental stop loss. But in my case, what it is I have a volume limitation that basically tells me that, because I know that when the stop loss is below 2 pips, right? That is something that I learned from just my statistics. When the stop loss below 2 pips, it's still profitable, but it's not as profitable. Okay. So what I then thought of was, okay, so I'm going to risk less on those. I still am going to take them because it is profitable, but I want to be risking less. So what I do is I have a limit since the distance to my stop loss is how I measure, the lot size, because the risk is fixed, but the lot size is not, right? It depends on the distance to the stop loss. Then what I do is I have a ceiling at which, if it gets to a certain point, even if the the position size calculator tells me that I'm able to risk more, I'm limiting that because I want to lose less. Because what I've seen is that there are times when I go to drawdown that I have consecutive losses, and that's where my equity suffers the most. So I want to mitigate that drawdown by limiting the size of the trade. Basically, I'm limiting the risk that I take per trade at that moment on a particular subset of the trades, which is with very tight stop loss when it's 1.2, 1.3, etc. And what that changes my statistics is that my average loss is no longer 1R, not because I close them in front of time before it reaches TP, just because that I have some kind of a limit built in. And that actually makes the statistic to be a little bit more complicated to because 1R is no longer the full stop loss typically, because it's less, right? Even so, I count all my R multiples on that bigger, more conservative value of that risk reward, because the average now fluctuates, right, depending on how many tight entries do I get, and I don't want that variability. While if I have it at a fixed dollar amount for risk, that doesn't fluctuate. So that's something quite. I know it's a bit complex, and maybe for someone who hasn't been, doing the lot size calculation on their own, or haven't done that a lot, it doesn't. It's a little bit a little bit difficult to grasp. But that's something similar that I have too. My risk, my average loss is less than 1R. Typically, it's 74% my 1R value, the average loss that I take.
Yeah, no, I find that to be quite helpful as well. When you have that. Usually, what I do is I just have that wide stop loss, and then I give the trade lots of room forever, and but by doing so, like, because I think a lot of people, they have a very tight stop loss usually, and they enter the trade, and then a lot of times they'll get stopped out, and then it moves in the direction. So if you think about it, and you first look at the trade setup, and you think, I want to have my stop loss here, as a new trader, I would say a lot of times you want to double that stop loss. Like if you think you want to have a tight stop loss, like what I usually want to do is I want to double that stop loss, and then instead of having the stop loss hit at that level, you will exit manually if it continues in that direction. Otherwise, you can just view it as, that original stop loss that you thought about, that one gets hit, and then it starts moving in the right direction, which
I think
happens
it's a
quite
great
often.
way to lower your risk. It's always better to risk less than more. It's always better.
Definitely. Yes, we got the 5-minute candle closing here right now. That's a good bearish candle right here. So I'm going to keep this trade open now. I've limited this the risk of this trade. So I'm closer to half an hour if it gets stopped out. So if we get above this level, I'm just gonna get stopped out. So now I'm looking at a rejection here. It's the idea to have that level being used as resistance. And then hopefully we'll get the break below that level, and if that happens, then I think this range that we have here on the lower time frames is the top formation of that first breakout move, because you can then go to the 15-minute, and now you see that we're starting to form a top here. We got the impulse move, hit the high time frame level right here, starting to form a top formation, and now I'm looking for that move down to the breakout level. So basically anticipating a break and retest here. And then if we do get that retest, I will enter a long again. I don't think I'm going to have time to do that today, though. I'm quite tired, so I feel like I shouldn't be taking that trade. If this trade hits TP, I would be like 70, 80, 90. I'd be
Let me show
back.
my. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. No, go
No,
ahead.
let me show my chart because I like your entry a lot. Not necessarily entry level, but What I see is reading 5 minute. What do we see after this squeeze? We mentioned this candle, right? On the 1 minute, it was such a big candle, right? That's a good indication. I'm talking about this candle. What happened here, right? Probably ICT traders will say, liquidity grab. Everyone who was having their stops there, or perhaps a fake out, the trend following traders who want to get in, and then the market does something else, right? They get trapped into getting into the trade. And that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. If we go to the lower time frames, what do we see? We see after that that big candle. And the reason I went to the 1 minute is, you see how big this candle is in comparison to the rest of the candle, right? It's 6.3. And you compare that to all the other ones, even the biggest one isn't this big. This is almost twice the second biggest candle, right? So this is insignificant to me. And if you go to the lower time frame, what happens? What's the price action telling us after that candle happened? We have an outside bar, a bearish outside bar, right? So that means sellers are trapping, everyone who bought, when this candle passed the high of the previous candle on the 5 minute, right? I'm not looking at the 1 minute anymore. Everyone who bought this in this wick are on the water when it closes, right? So they are trapped. What does it do next? It goes back into that order block and then closes as an engulfing, bearish engulfing. I don't know if this will be the beginning of a possible move down, but it sure looks like it could be, right? Now we had that sign after that important or relevant, significant big candle, bearish order block, and then a confirmation of some sort with this bearish order block. The next step is we need follow through. So to me, that means that it should not disrespect this order block. And follow through means it needs to follow that script of going down. So forming bearish order block, retesting them, not breaking them, and forming newer ones. And if it closes above this, to me, it switched back, right? So it was giving us information. Maybe this big candle is getting our attention here, trapping traders, confirming that it wants to go down, and then it needs follow through. Obviously, this candle is negating everything that that all this bearishness coming in. It's only on the 5 minutes, so this happens all the time, where the market tells you something, but then does the opposite, and it does that all the time, in continuing its trend, but also in reversing its. All right, okay, so this bar now, so everything now just changed. Everything that I just mentioned, the outside bar has now been invalidated. This obviously has also been invalidated. So everything that it told us here to go short is now out of the window. As quick as that. It changes sides, and that's difficult when you're scalping, because you see something, it's building one side, and then changes up on you. And that's how it gets trapped traders to be trapped. So by showing something that looks attractive and then changes the table on you after you enter, now you're in pain. That's basically how the market works all the time. So it's very interesting. It hasn't gone down as we would expect on the higher time frames to get a bigger time frame entry, which was below us. It's continuing to go up, and this shaded area that I didn't have before. This is an H4 order block, way to the left, which may or may not be significant. We'll see when price come back into it. I don't trade them for entries, but since we don't have any reference point, any structures of reference to reference the price action to, I put them in, right? So then, in the absence of better information, this is good enough to give an idea. Okay, so if price is reacting bearishly in this area, it makes the odds a little bit higher that maybe it's going to retrace a little back, give us our entry, or just maybe not. All right, so yeah, there isn't a lot to, it's, and the other thing I was doing is, while you were talking, is, where, if I'm going to short this, if I'm going to scalp this short, not an intraday trade, because we don't have bearish structures forming on the H1, etc. So it's not going to be something to hold more than a couple of minutes, maybe 15 or 20 minutes. But if I'm going to short this as a scalper, I want to see the market starts either showing reversal pattern breaking down, or it reacting a specific way after it hit a relevant level above us. We don't have that, other than this order block, which I don't find particularly interesting, because it's way back to the left. Depending on how, but let's assume that this is something more more recent, and let's assume that this is perhaps a previous high. The way it touches and reacts afterwards tells me, okay, this could be a nice scalp short, either by forming bearish order block, or by forming bearish reversal pattern like the quasi, or which is the same as breaking structures, right? For me, the structure is formed by the quasi. So, and in this case, we are the neckline just this is live, so the next neckline has already moved to this area. This is the next area to be broken if it wants to, because this high has been taken out already, right? So now this could be the left shoulder if we're going to look for a possible retracement into some demand area below, and this then would be the left the left shoulder, right? That's the confirmed or established trend from which it may break that trend line. It may, right, with an emphasis on may, because I have no idea what's going to happen. Nobody really does. We're just positioning or thinking different scenario. If it breaks this and comes back, then maybe that's how we're going to see a retracement into those levels. And if not, then it's, it needs to, for me, that entry would be the trigger to think that scenario would be that breaking of that neckline. As long as it doesn't happen, I would assume that's going to continue to go up. But of course, that doesn't mean to say that I expect Jonathan Strait to go to stop loss, because he is using, a different approach, and what he may get TP before I, even before my scenario plays out.
I did get stopped out on that EU, so now I'm we got 10 minutes left of the live stream, so I'm not looking to enter another trade on that one. We'll see tomorrow if we can take some more trades on that one. I did take some let's see if I'm gonna. Oh, that is very, very tight stop loss. Wow, I made a mistake here on my okay, so I made a mistake here on my live account. I gotta fix that.
Okay. In the meantime, I'm showing the 1 minute chart for everyone who is contemplating a possible short. I my typical way of doing it, I need to see on the hourlies a reason to go short. If I don't see it on the hourlies, I'm not going to go short on the minute. So, and if we go to the hourlies, there is nothing to me that tells me to go short here. So I'm not able to go short. There is, that's just me because of my trade plan. If you look at on the 4 hour, let me blow this up so everyone can see it at home, or even on their phones if that's the thing you're doing, right? This is the price action on the, on a higher time frame. There's nothing here for me to tell me that I need to start thinking of a short, right? Nothing here, nothing there, right? So if they're on the hourlies, the H4, H2, H1, there's not a short bearish structure coming in. To me, there's only one side to go, which is the buy side. That doesn't mean that you can get a short and get profits, right? There is, many different ways to be profitable in the market, and no single person, scenario is always going to be right. So there's plenty of opposing views to be correct in the market as well. But to me, I don't see any bearish structure here on the hourly, and that's why I typically would not be going short. But however, if you have a different reason to go short, then this is the area of relevance to me, because if it's going to break, that's the level it needs to break from to start, right? To start showing that it's losing momentum, trying to reverse. This is also on the 1 minute. So I want to see that in multiple time frames, not only the 1 minute. This is the 3 minute. I'll have to mute my mic for a few seconds.
Sure. Well,
there you go.
nice.
Let's see. That's the line on the 3 minutes. The quasi on the 3 minute, and on the 5 minute, the quasi is it's not there. It's all the way down. Not even. It's down here. So that's the way I gauge or assess how strong. Let's say it breaks this level. How strong is it? It's 1 minute and a 3 minute break of structure, right? And that should give you more or less confidence, because if you have a 1 minute structure but not anything else, a 3 minute and a 1 minute, that's stronger. And if you can see the structure as well being broken on the 5 minute, now that's that should give you more confidence. But as we can see, it's not breaking any structure. So there is, to me, at least my way of approaching the market, there's no reason to go short. And long, I think you are already in the trade from below here, or you get in when it comes back to retest. Other than that, I would be sitting on my hands waiting for price to do either one of them, either break structure or get in from a lower price, where at a discounted price. And we're getting near to the end of our session.
Man, I did a stupid mistake on my live account, unfortunately. So I basically put in the wrong stop loss and entered the position, and then I'm looking at MetaTrader and I'm like, okay, the unrealized profit and loss is moving way too quickly, and
I hope it didn't hurt too much.
And I tried to find my stop loss. I'm like, I can't find the stop loss, and then I find it, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's right below my entry.
Ooh.
Like that can't be right. So yeah, I lost. Yeah, I think I lost. Probably like quarter of an hour, like just on that mistake.
Okay.
That sucks.
And that's the that's scalping experiment, right?
No, that's my live account.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so I got a signal. I get a signal. I'm like, I got to enter this trade, and yeah, I like I said in the beginning, like I'm tired, haven't slept very well, and I haven't. I think I haven't done a mistake like that since I can't even remember last time I made a mistake like that. But of course, a mistake like that will be.
I think it was when Obama was still president, right?
Yeah, maybe something like that. But yeah, it's a great lesson, even traders like us, being Victor, we've been doing this for many years. We also have to, think about these things. Like if you had a bad night's sleep, if you're tired, you have to spend some extra time going through what you're doing. Look at the details, right? Look at the details of your trades. Now, what I did right here was I exited the trade immediately when I realized I made a mistake. Otherwise, I would have been down 1 hour. Now, very thankful that I did exit it right away. But yeah, it's that there's definitely a lesson here. Try not to trade if you're not focused.
Yeah, but did you find the cause? Is it just tiredness, or is there something in your workflow, like in the process that you do, that could avoid this? Let's say, for example, I have in the position size calculator, I have you can set minimum and maximum trades. Not sorry, I'm
That's
not
interesting.
No, I mean maximum stop loss. So if the trade has a higher than a specific number that you put in, it will not execute it. So and
That's
that
very interesting. How do I do that?
if you have, let me get my PSC. So in that case, and you can put it on the other side as well for the minimum. So it needs to have at least a certain amount. If you know your data, right, you can check your data and see, I never have a stop loss of 2 pips. So I can, take my lowest stop loss level or number of pips, and I can put that's the minimum. It needs to have at least that. If it's lower than that, then it doesn't get executed. And you can have I have it on the maximum actually. If it's above a certain number of pips, it doesn't get executed because I know it must be wrong because I never have those kind of levels. Let me get my PSC get in. You can put in the thing is I have it on the on my PSC, the version I have. You can set on the script tab. You can set max entry stop loss distance and minimum entry slash stop loss distance as well. That's what I talk about. And this is, of course, I'm watching on my, this is, of course, on the MT4 because I have the account I'm watching on is on the MT4. Let me check on the MT5 how that looks like. Yes, on version 2.41 of the position size calculator, I'm not sure what version you have, there is a script tab. And that tab has also max. Maybe I can show it on my screen.
Yeah, let's do that. So I'm just gonna see if I can calculate what I usually have. So let's see. I could probably put it at.
I'm going to remove my my image so that not my image, my screen, so that I can put the other one.
What if I put minimum entry stop loss distance? What if I put that to 30? Does that mean that the distance between the entry and stop loss has to be above 30 to enter a position?
Yes. So
Okay,
if you
so I'm
have
gonna.
hotkeys, because this is the script, if you have hotkeys put in, you press your hotkey, but it doesn't do anything.
Okay, so I'm gonna put 30 in. That's actually very helpful. For that would have saved me a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't sound a lot, but it's still $600. So it's still
money.
Yeah, it's still money, And basically, what I did was I took $600 and then I basically threw that away in the matter of 10 seconds because of this mistake. So yeah, it does hurt a little bit. But yeah, guys, we're at 2 hours here, and I need to get some coffee. It's an expensive coffee right there. But yeah, guys, I'd like to. Yeah, I'd like to thank you all for joining here today. Tomorrow we'll have Saul on. That's going to be very interesting. I'm going to be continuing my scalping madness experiment here with Saul. We're going to see what Saul has to say about EU. Hopefully, we're going to be trading EU live together. And yeah, man, that's frustrating. What a way to end the. What a way to end the live stream.
All right, so this is the position size calculator, and I specifically mentioned the version 2.41, so I don't know which version it is right now. And you can see below it's from earnforex.com for everyone
who is 3.9.
Okay, so that may, I don't know if it's still available, but at some point it was. I'm not sure if you can go back to another
It is, but
version.
it's not it's just in the trading tab. So they have
Okay,
the
now you have it
scripts
in the trading
tab is
tab.
now
Well,
called.
yeah, you can put limits on when it executes on the script or not, right? With the hotkeys, right? The minimum entry stop loss distance, the maximum and max spread, slippage, all of that, even the max position. If you never, your data says you never take above a certain volume, why would you want to leave that open? You understand? So
Yeah.
and that already can help you. I mean, the lot size, 10 extra makes a big difference. 1 digit extra, and that can happen. I mean, everything is possible, right? Human error. So if you have this way, you can limit your your risk, your risk of human error.
I think what I have is I have a tool called it's blank. What's my called? It's called Forex Solutions. So the four and then
Your
X.
copier.
Yeah, exactly. Forex Solutions. But
Okay.
I would just say Google Trade Copier, and there's a couple of big ones out there. The one I like, Forex Solutions, and then there's another one like Social Trading something, I don't know. But
Is that a
there's a couple
premium
of ones out
service?
there. Yeah, it is.
Okay, I have a lot of experience with FX Blue, which is a free service for everyone who is starting up. You don't want to increase your cost unnecessarily. FX Blue has a copier, a personal copier, and I've been using it, and it can be everything you need. I'm sure the premium ones have extra things. That's why they're premium. But the FX Blue has a very basic but complete copier. The
But it's
difference is,
not
of course,
it's not cloud based, right?
yeah, it's not. That's what I was going to say. The difference is that you will have to have your PC on for the duration of the trade, or you may need a VPS, which is not free, of course.
Yeah, for me, I need a cloud service. I can't use it locally because I'm trading on my laptop and my phone and my PCs. I need it to be automatically synced to all the accounts automatically. But yeah, I guess you can use a VPS for that. But I think I'm paying, I don't know, like I'm paying $60 a month to have like five different accounts. But if I need more, I'll need to pay like 90. So it's not super cheap. But I mean, as you can hear, if you have over five accounts that you're funded with, then yeah, you'll be able to afford that.
Yeah, if you took it on a yearly basis, you're talking about what, $720, and then the equation is what is either keeping my PC on, if you have a PC that you're not going to be using for for that can be on for the whole time. What do you prefer, having it on for maybe the whole year on? Is that more expensive, or $720 in so I don't know. That's one of the considerations any trader could have.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's it for today. Looking forward to the live stream tomorrow. Hope that you're all gonna be there with us tomorrow. And if you do have any questions for Saul, the CEO of the company, make sure that you ask them live tomorrow. And yeah, we'll do some live trading. All right, Victor. Thank you for today. And yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you too, and especially thanks to the audience for your attention. Hope to see you tomorrow. I'm excited already for tomorrow.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Hi guys, so thank you very much for watching the video. Now make sure you like and subscribe, and most of all, go into the YouTube and check our other content that we provide.